Hi. All right, here's a question from Camilla. Camilla says, hi, Tabs. It'd be great to have your advice with how you would start explaining that you're in recovery / remission from an eating disorder to someone who you've started to date. I'm not sure how to start the conversation now it's no longer physically or behaviorally obvious that I have a mental health condition. And I consider it's important for me to be open and honest sooner rather than later. Thank you. Okay. Well, so the first thing is you put recovery / remission. I don't believe in remission. I believe in recovery. Those two are different things. You can be in recovery, which is on the path to getting fully recovered. When you're fully recovered, you're fully recovered. You don't have an eating disorder anymore once you're fully recovered. You have the genetic predisposition for one, but you don't have an active eating disorder. So I'm assuming from what you've written that you're not fully recovered right now. You're in recovery. Because honestly, when you're fully recovered, thing of the past, isn't it? You only have to bring it up if it seems relevant. I just certainly don't tell people that I meet now, oh, by the way, I had an eating disorder however long ago. It's just not relevant to my life anymore. Most of the time people find out I had an eating disorder is I might mention it because I'm like, oh, I've got a coaching client now, see ya. And they'll be like, oh, what do you do coaching in? And then it goes like that. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, I had anorexia for 12 years. Blah, blah. But it's certainly not something that's particularly relevant to my day-to-day life. If you're in recovery, however, it is. So how would you start explaining that? Well, I don't know. I'd just say it just the way I do when I meet someone now. If it comes up, oh, I had an anorexia, I would and did just say, oh, I'm in recovery from anorexia. If it came up, I wouldn't necessarily, well, if you're dating someone, I guess, then that's a bit different, isn't it? Especially if you're particularly interested in them. It might come up in the sense that you have to say, oh, got to go eat, important, and here's why it's so important that I go and eat. I found personally that people's response was often far more kind of like, oh, cool, than I thought it would be. A lot of people were just sort of like, okay, all right. Because most people don't really know much about eating disorders. If they've had one before, then their response might be a bit like, oh, yeah, gotcha, okay. Oh, sometimes you'll find that then a lot of people say to you, oh, I've got an eating disorder, but they haven't really done recovery. So that can be interesting. I've had that a few times. But for the most part, people just kind of look at me like, okay. And it's just sort of information that they go like, give that a nod and good for you. Off you go. It's just not a big deal to people, not to most people anyway. And especially if you're firmly in recovery, I don't really see why it would be a big deal at all. It's not exactly anything other than you just got to eat a load of food and rest, is it? Not a big deal. And like I said, when you're fully recovered, you're fully recovered. It's done. And it will only get undone if you go into energy deficit again, which you're not going to do, are you? So just enjoy dating people and be relaxed about it. It's not something you have to disclose if you don't want to, because if you're on your way to getting to recovered, it won't be a problem anymore, will it? No. All right, bye.